The first speaker that would come into you is from Avaya, and the topic is very interesting, the hot topic that you all would look forward to hear from him. It is about accelerating the speed of business. And the speaker would be Mr. Arun Shetty. He is the head of Unified Communications, Sales and Consulting from Avaya, India. And Arun drives the Unified Communication, Sales and Consulting across India, working closely with the customers and partners. Arun has over 19 years of experience in networking and communication industry in the areas of sales, technical systems engineering, and deployment of global projects. Prior to Avaya, Arun was a senior manager, systems engineering at Cisco. Arun has supported customers both in enterprise and service provider segment to deploy technologies and solutions like MPLS, unified communications, and data center technologies. And Arun would be throwing sufficient light on the various challenges that you all face in terms of unified communications, the productivity tools, and how you are going to really address those challenges. He would bring in certain good insights about the various deployments, implementations that he had with top large enterprises from India. I would welcome Arun to address the audience.
Thank you, Geeta. Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for your time today. And today's presentation, my presentation will be very much going to be about time. Okay, so my presentation topic today is accelerating your business. So I think today I do know that, say 15 years back, the CIO's job or an IT manager's job was just to get rolling the operation, roll out projects. I'm adding 5,000 more people if it is an ITS company. So roll out 5,000 ports, roll out 5,000 phones or probably 2,000 phones. That's what it used to be. So what we have seen clearly is a transformation of a CIO or a IT team from what they were doing from an operations to the vision, strategy, and also knowing to know about the business actually. So that's where it makes a big difference. So when you add value to the business and you can accelerate the business, that's when the business sees you as a partner, not as a service provider for them actually. So you need to be a service provider, but you need also to accelerate the speed of business. So my presentation is going to be about what challenges, what an organization faces, and why they come to an IT manager or a CIO and tell them that, hey, this is what I want to do. Can you give me a solution for this? Okay, so essentially, you have a business problem and you need to have a solution to solve that business problem. And that's what technology adoption is all about, and that's all about transformation in an organization is. So what are our common challenges today? So is there anybody who says that they don't have any of these challenges? So these are the challenges. If you see the economy today, the economic outlook is good, bad. Things are going up and down, and then I think, but what we are doing today is we are more prepared than what it was in 2008, 2009. So we know that things are not as good as it is. One of the things what we also have learned over a period of time is how to reduce the cost, how to increase the productivity. That is clearly the important goal, and even the CIOs say that, yes, this is the vision of the organization, and this is my vision of IT for growing the business. And what are the other challenges? If you see the pattern of work, it is really changing. People are no more in their offices and working. People want collaboration. People want to connect to an organization from anywhere they are, with any device they have actually. So the choice of the device is more for an user to decide, not an organization to decide anymore actually. And the next one is the expectation of the customer. How many of you still feel that voice is the only way of getting into a contact center? I just want to know actually. So hands, the only way to get into a contact center. It is still the highest. Voice is still the highest percentage as far as reaching to the customer care. But today's young generation don't believe in that. So they want multimodal communication. They want it to be an IM. They probably want it on a Facebook or on a Twitter. So they want to reach out to the customer service from the device of their own choice. It could be an iPhone or an Android, and also the media of their own choice. It could be email. So they don't like to talk. And some people want to see. They want video also. So the customer experience management is changing actually. That is clearly changing, and then we know customers who come to us and tell that, okay, voice is not something which I want to invest. I want to invest in multimedia technologies. The last one is the rapidly changing technology. So when the technology changes rapidly, what happens? The users will come to you and ask you, I want this. Why? Because consumers know technology much better than an enterprise knows today. It used to be a time, probably 10 years back, and enterprises, users used to tell that, okay, this is a cool technology, what we use in our office. Now enterprises say that, oh, there is a cool technology on the consumer world, let's bring it to the enterprise. And it's very often what we see is in consumer world, if you want to do a free call, free dialing, you can download probably a Viper kind of an application on any of your device and start calling if you have a Wi-Fi connectivity. So you want to roll out the same project in your organization, it takes months, if not years in an organization to roll out across the organization. So technology is changing. When technology is changing, what is changing as far as when the user's expectations are changing, the technology has to change, and what exactly is changing is the virtual enterprises. The enterprises are becoming more virtualized, and it will be all about solutions. It's no more about a product or a technology, it's about a solution. And also cloud is really driving the adoption of technology much faster. Okay, so we have challenges. We know how we can overcome these challenges by using technology and the solutions very effectively in our organizations. So let me just give you some of the facts about what's happening around us. Okay, if you see 80%, almost 80% of the Fortune 100 companies say that they will allow iPad and iPhones. Okay, there is a contrast to that. There is a contradicting thing to that. 77% of the CIOs feel that that's a threat to an organization. So will you stop that? BYOD is something which organizations want to adopt, but the CIO says that, oh no, it's a threat to an organization. So there are two ways of looking at it, one to stop it or to enhance it and think something, ways of allowing the users to use their own choice of device actually. So clearly what we have seen, I mean, if you see in the US, the adoption of the iPad and the iPhone by the consumers have really driven what we call it as the BYOD phenomenon today in an organization or in the enterprise. And then, but the enterprises are really struggling to connect the new technology into their existing old technologies actually. So that's changing. And then if you see from a collaboration point of view, video is something which organizations feel that is one of the most important things which we need to roll it out to reduce the travel time, increase the productivity, and also to start doing personalized video, which means video should be available on the device of my own choice actually. So if I have an iPhone or an iPad or a laptop, I should be having video on these devices. Why can't I have? And if you see some of the statistics, the half of the bandwidth will be used only for video in the coming years. And also many of the CIOs feel that most of my applications will be into cloud, or half of my applications will be in the cloud area. So it could be a private cloud or a public cloud. So what are the challenges? I mean, if I have to put everything together, so what I see it is the mobile collaboration, video collaboration, customer experience management, and also the virtual enterprises are something which organizations will invest because it accelerates their business, and that is what users want, or that is what business wants today. Okay, so these are the 4 solutions what I'll be talking to you about. I'll not talk anything about the products, but I'll talk about the technology and how you can think of solving some of the problems what you have by adopting solutions. It is no more about a point product or a technology. It is a solution which has to be an end-to-end solution. So when consumerization of the device and applications happens, for an IT world, it is consumerization of collaboration or consumerization of the IT. So you need to take care of those devices, which are the alien devices, which are not controlled by you, but it is coming into your organization, right? So people also say that they use iPads in their organization, and even businesses feel that it is good they use iPads in the organization because the productivity of these employees are much higher than what it was before. So we allow employees to use the iPads and iPhones in the organizations, or probably other tablets also in the organization, but the CIO feels otherwise actually. CIO feels, okay, I need to figure out how to do this. But the thing is, we'll also have to really believe the IT team doesn't have a choice, okay? So let me ask you one more question here. How many times a user who is probably say a sales representative comes and asks for an iPad? Or how many times a vice president of an organization comes and asks for an iPad and an iPhone to be enabled? It so happens the executive management wants iPad and iPhone. So the IT team doesn't have a choice actually. Okay, they need to enable that. But the reason why the executive management use the iPad and the iPhone so effectively is it is easy user experience. Experience is really nice, it is simple to use, and it is spontaneous. You don't have to learn anything. So typically this is what has been told actually. If you download an application from iTunes, and if you don't figure out how to use it in 5 minutes time, you'll never use it. Okay, so if you download an application and if you can't figure out to use it in 5 minutes, you'll never use it, which basically means the user experience is such good experience and it is all simple to use. So who says cloud is not there? Cloud is already there. Only for enterprises, cloud is not there. Right? So the next thing is, people don't use only one device, they use multiple devices, right? So we can see, I mean, what we do is we use laptops at home, at the work, probably iPads at home. On the way, we use the mobile phones to do that. And one of the things what happens in these three devices is the user experiences are different in these three different devices actually, right? So one of the things IT has to really work is to say that, okay, solving consumerization of IT. What are the challenges, what is there? So one of the top challenges, what I told you earlier, was about the security. You have different devices, and many of these devices are not owned by the company. And also it is shown that the security threats from these devices are much higher than the company used equipments. Okay, so companies have to be really, really very careful about that. So 77% of the CIOs feel it is an IT risk to use that. It is a real risk to use end devices. So the CIO can always say that, wow, okay, let me stop it, I'll not give the access to anybody. And also the CIOs can say that, wow, this is a great productivity tool for me. And in fact, the CIOs can think of solving the problem of not giving an equipment to an end user actually. So you can bring down the cost actually from a cost point of view. So suppose, let me give an example of you bring an iPhone or an iPad into an organization. It is not owned by the IT team. It is not budgeted in the IT team, but you need to give an access. So what are the challenges what you have actually? So whenever a user brings in, the first thing is giving an access to that. What is required is a robust wireless network, okay, which has to be across your campus or across your enterprise so that the user can easily connect. Okay, so now you are given an access to the user, he can access your network. So one of the biggest thing is you need to identify the device. So you say that not every user will get it. So I am doing a trial, only 1,000 users will get it. I identify those users. So you need to do something kind of an identity management. So think of an identity management. So I will identify what device comes, and for this users only this device is allowed. So which is basically fingerprinting rather, right? So you have an identity engine to say that, okay, I'll identify the device and I'll give him only this access. So you limit the access to few applications when a user comes into a network and then accesses some applications. Okay, so that is very important. Security becomes important. So what are the other challenges what comes? The quality of service. right? So now you are given access. When you are given access, you have provisioned a device and you tell that, okay, it is secured, everything is there, but the user says that, hey, boss, my laptop works fine. My iPad, if I use the same application on iPad, it is slow. So it probably is different reasons why that problem happens. So you need to ensure that you need to manage this end-to-end, performance management end-to-end, and ensure that quality of service is there across your network. So these are some of the things what you need to do. And again, MDM becomes very important because you are doing the mobile device management. So you need to deploy an MDM as a solution actually, or a mobile device management. So this is what the solutions, what you need to think of. So one of the things many of our customers say is, hey, okay, so this is a very, very good idea. So for some of my users, I will not give them the desk phone at all. If I can give a soft phone on their iPad, iPhone, Android devices, he can be outside the organization, inside the organization. I just have to provision for him an extension on his iPhone or an iPad or an Android device. So I don't have to give a phone at all for him, that user. So what they do is, okay, sales guys are supposed to be outside the organization. They have an extension, but they don't have a physical phone. So you can cut down on the cost actually. So by increasing the productivity for that user, end user, you are increasing the productivity by giving him access to the network, corporate directory, everything, and then he can access the network, he can access the communication, he can access his voicemails, and he can reach out to anybody, do conferencing, or probably do video also, but you are not given him the device. You have provisioned him something what he wants, and he is very happy to use his device. Okay? So another challenge is the common user experience across multiple devices. So that's something what you need to think of actually, because when a user uses, this is okay, you can force a normal user to do it, but you can't force an executive management to have different devices with different user experience. It is always better to give a common user experience. So if I'm doing something on a laptop, I want the same experience on my tablet, I want the same experience on my phone also. Why should it be different? So that is also becomes a very, very important thing when you do that. So to just summarize what I told is provisioning and management, quality of service, and security intelligent edge are some of the key important things when you are deploying mobile collaboration solution in your organization or BYOD in your organization actually. Okay, so this is not about a product or an application, it is about a solution. So I think the whole point here, what I want to say is, yes, getting endpoints into an organization is a challenge, but by allowing them an access doesn't solve your problem. You need to look at the holistic solution end to end and allow the user with the best user experience and with the best access, and also you need to manage and see what actions you need to take in case if things go wrong actually. So always do a pilot for few users, and the best people to do a pilot is the IT team actually, right? So do it for them, and then based on that application, based on what a business wants, you can roll out those pilot application only to that business group actually. So now our thinking is moving from just being a service provider, provisioning services, to a business, to sit with the business and say that, okay, you have the sales team and they need collaboration, they need to access applications from anywhere in the world, and they don't have to come to the office to access these applications. They can do it from anywhere they are actually. Okay. So the next application I'll be talking to you is about video. Okay, so I just want to know how, lift your hand if you don't use video at all. So you don't use video at all, okay. Okay, so let me tell you about video, okay. So the estimate for the next 5 years from the sales alone for video, for all the video video conferencing companies is about $22 billion. And from 2010 to 2011, it has grown 34% actually. What it basically means is people are adopting video. It could be telepresence, it could be video conferencing rooms, it could be the video endpoints on your laptops and the PCs. People have started using that. But what we also see is the personalized video is something which is just getting started, which means that your video on any of the devices is just getting started, and customers are started using that actually. So how should video be? How many of you have struggled to use video actually? Say you have a video conferencing and let me give you this example. Your CEO of the company has a video conferencing. As IT team, IT team, how many of you have supported the CEO to have a video conferencing? You have done. Everybody has done that. Okay, that is because it is not simple to use. How many of you supported somebody to get into a conference call? It's not necessarily you are there, because everybody knows how to dial. You are supported, okay. Because everybody knows how to dial a phone, right? So that's why we have 900 million users in India. Okay, so people know how to use. So I think one of the reasons why video didn't take off as much as it should have is because of it is complex, it is not simple. Okay, that is really one of the reasons why it didn't take off. Because I have attended video conferencing sessions where the IT guy is sweating, the IT guy is connecting, everything is working, the video conferencing starts at 10 o'clock, it goes down. Or it becomes hazy and people can't see properly. And then again, the meeting got postponed from 10 to 10:30, and it happens, and finally the CEO says that I don't want to have video conferencing, let me have only audio call. I mean, I have been in such meetings, and those meetings used to be every month actually. Okay, so it was like that, video was like that. Okay, I'll give you some of the good inputs on how video was complex and how it has become simple. So that is one example, and the second example is people said that they took internally they did a survey and then told how many times we are using video. So the video conference room utilization was just about 20%. People never used to use video because they are scared that it will take too much time to use video. So 20% was the time 20% of the time only they used video. So then came telepresence, and one of the good things about telepresence is it took care of that simplicity. You just dial, it goes. You are connected to that system, and you can schedule it from your Outlook or any of your email system. Okay, so it is simple. And it is relevant because you need to have easy connectivity. So and then you want video conferencing to be effective. So it is relevant and it is spontaneous. So you want to do a call, you just do it. Like how you take a phone and call, you can make a video call. So the relevant, it should be, I mean, any video conferencing or any technology should be simple, relevant, and spontaneous. That is when people will start using it. Okay. So one of the things what we want customers to think, I mean, what we want the IT team to think is, okay, so let me see whether the video is simple, relevant, and spontaneous, and whether the user experience is very good. So this is a survey done by one of the companies for the CIOs in Europe, and this is the survey what it said. If you see, quality of video and audio is the top priority for everybody. If you take about 100 people and ask them what is your top thing, what you want, quality of video and audio. And if you see, it is too hard for employees to use. Many times users feel that I don't want to use because it's too difficult to use. If that is how the technology is deployed, nobody will use, right? So this is the inputs from a survey, and if you see some of them, I mean, it is very, very relevant. I mean, there is no rocket science involved to get this thing out actually. We all know that, and we all have suffered, and we probably were on the other side when the users were suffering, and we have also suffered much more than what the users have suffered. So another important thing is, I always feel it is much easier for a user to use a technology than you doing it at the back end to bring up that actually. That is very difficult. But however, if you plan it well and if you think it as a solution, the things can be much, much easier. Okay. So how should the video be actually? So it should be simple, and it should also be interoperable, because if you are using some other video technology, it should interoperate with that. So if you see, like voice video is not interoperable. If I have to call from one video system to another video system, it's a lot of challenges are involved. So we need to check on that also, interoperable. And also why it becomes very, very important is because the users will bring his iPad and tell that I want video on this device. Okay, so if we don't adopt a open standard interoperable system, then we have challenges. And then we also have a voice system, we have a video system, and then the challenge is how to integrate these two things actually. So you have a video conferencing, 10 people are joined in a video conferencing, 5 people are outside the organization and they can only join on voice conference. So you need to connect them also. Okay, so that's what will become very important. So easy to use video, anytime, anywhere, any device video, and simplification are the main things which you need to consider when you deploy video. Okay, so video could be a telepresence room, it can be a conference room, it can be a desktop collaboration, and it can be on device of your own choice actually. So what we will do for a minute is, I want to tell you how easy it is to do video. So what I will do is I'll just switch over the screen from to another PC to show you a live video and how easy it is to do a video actually. So this is just to ensure that whatever I speak is something which is happening today. So can we switch over please? Yeah, Dinakar, you go ahead. Yeah.
Hello. Okay. Hi, you have to turn your heads. I'm sorry. I'm doing the demo from your behind. So that's my outlook. So what Arun was demonstrating is on how easy it is to, establish a video conference or a video chat. So what you're looking at my outlook on the top of the toolbar, what you see is 2 things. One is the Scopia meeting and the settings. Okay, so it's easy to just, if you need to click this, let me show you how does it look like. So this is the invite which we have scheduled for the demo today. So the moment I click on that Scopia meeting tool, all these links will come by default. So in case of if you want to send it to any, invite anybody over there, all you need to do is just type in the invitee list, that's it, send it. You need not to do anything on the body part of the invite. And once you do that, the one which is highlighted says auto join, okay? If you can make it, let me show it to you, this one, this part, okay? All the invitee has to do is to click this link, and that's it. And if he has a client, it gets installed, and he can use this. And in case of an iPad or an Android phones or iPhones, there is a free app which is available in the app stores. So you can download that, and all you need to give is this pin. And it works on internet. You don't need not to be on a VPN to do this. At this point of time, I'm not on a VPN. I'm just using the Shelton's dedicated internet to do this. So I'm not really on my VPN to do this. So let me show you how does it look like. So I have my people. I have Shalil, who is the business development manager for video from our Mumbai office. We have Kuntal Shah on your left, who is actually our consulting system engineer from our Gurgaon office. And the right-hand side, top corner down, is our Mumbai EPC conference. So this is how it looks like on a desktop. Unfortunately, we are not able to bring the iPad to show you. iPad went to another event, so we are unable to bring the iPad to this event. We are sorry. But anyways, we can demonstrate that one also. Just to quickly show you, it's very easy to operate. This is the moderator button. Open the moderator button. You can invite, and you can invite by address, in the sense if your organization is completely SIP URI based or SIP integration, and you know the IP address or something like that, just type in and you can invite, or any directories, and for any user from your Active Directory. So it can integrate with LDAP, Active Directory, Novell, everything, without any problem. And there are many other options. At this point of time, what I would do is, I would give it to, if you see on the left hand side, we are actually chatting while we are actually preparing for the demo also. So I would give it to the Kuntal, who is going to, demonstrate, give some few slides, show you some slides, and I'll show you how easy it is to do a video conferencing. Kuntal, go ahead. He's not able to hear me. He does.
Yeah. He is pulling his presentation. I mean, it's just to show you the presentation. I'm sure most of you use it in your organization. So what we just want to show you is to say that, okay, you can access from anywhere, get into a corporate video collaboration solution and share presentations, share ideas, and then have conferencing from any device of your choice actually. That's essentially what it is. So Kuntal is basically, what he is doing is to show you the presentation and then say that yes, I can share a presentation from anywhere in the world actually. So I can be anywhere, I can log in. And then this is something which we want to do is, Kuntal, you can move over the slides actually. So if you can hear me.
Can you start?
Yeah, so he can move the slides, and if you have late for a presentation, you can actually preview that slides. I mean, that is one of the important things what users came and told us actually, and it so happens that you joined the meeting 10 minutes late and you don't know what has happened before. If you want to preview the slides, that's also a possibility actually. Okay, so anything else, Dinakar?
Yeah, I just wanted to show the content slider. So what we'll do is we'll show you, if at all you joined late into the conference and you're wondering that what has happened in the previous slides. So there is a feature called slider. All you need to do is you go onto this particular window, take your mouse, and what you see over here is enable the content slider view. It will enable, so any slides which have been already traversed by the presenter, you can go back, click them, take a look at, and come back to the live presentation. Say, if you're presenting also, if you want to know what was happened previously, or some analytical data which you're discussing with your CIOs or other business operation guys, you can take a look what has happened, and come back to your slide, and can continue without any problem. And as I said already, we have on the iPhones and Android, I mean S3s and S2s, and of course the iPads. So this is all these things are available on the phones and the tablets also. It's not just the desktop, it's even on the tablets and the phones. Arun, I think that's all from my side.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dinakar. Thank you, Shalil. Thank you, Kuntal. So, I mean, I think one of the things what we wanted to show you is whatever I talk, you can actually switch back to this screen. Thank you. So, what we wanted to show you is video is simple to use today. It is no more complex. And video, look at it as a solution, and it also gets integrated to your existing systems and applications. Why is it important to get an integration to an existing systems and applications what you already have? Because I personally believe that tomorrow you are working on, and say, for example, I mean, we use Salesforce for all our sales tools. So you are in a Salesforce system, and then from a Salesforce system, you want to click and dial somebody or click and do a video. So that's why that integration of an application becomes very, very important for a video network or for a voice network, so that you can do click to call, you can do click to video, or you can do probably SMSing or the IMing, so you can do that. So one of the things in today's world is, the world is not voice only or video only, and it can't all be in silos. Today's world is a multimedia world, and we need to have solutions which can cater to the generation which is probably the Gen X, Gen Y generations, also to the people who are very comfortable in using probably PCs kind of a infrastructure actually. So we need to cater to multiple types of users today. So if you see some of the applications like this video application, it is cool app. But typically in an organization, cool apps take too long to deploy, right? And I'm sure that many of you are involved in projects which it took weeks or months or probably years to do that. Because I was in a customer's place yesterday. He told for my upgrade of some system, it took 18 hours to do the upgrade of a system. And we had 10 people working continuously to get that done actually. So that is what happens in enterprises actually. Okay, so you need to plan, you need to do things, but contrary to what we see in the consumer world, it takes minutes. How long you will want an application, go to an iTunes or an Android marketplace, download, install, everything is working fine. You don't require any training, users don't require any training, right? The reason is very simple, because enterprises, you need to worry about too many things actually. You need to worry about, if you want to roll out an application, for an example, it is not just an application you need to worry about. Okay, the application works on a server, and server needs a storage, and you need to connect this into a network, so the network also is involved. So how many people are involved? How many probably IT teams are involved? If you see that, okay, a server guy is involved, storage guy is involved, network guy is involved, and probably the applications guy is involved also. And then you need to test this application, so you need some users to test this application also before you roll it out. So that's the reason why it takes more time. Okay, but there are technologies which have simplified it. Okay, for example, I mean, this is an example of typically months to deploy applications and requires coordination across typical siloed groups. I mean, because storage guy doesn't really worry about what is happening on network, but he just needs a connectivity to the network, that's all. A server guy wants a connectivity to the network. So he's not worried about a network, he's not worried about anything else, he's worried about only his. So if you see, today's organizations are siloed, mostly the IT teams are siloed this way actually. Okay. And then the adoption of application really take a beating, or it sometimes is stopped actually, because the application guy has not spoken to the server guys about his requirement, or a storage guy about his requirement, and finally he realizes that they don't have the required infrastructure to support him actually. So what is the solution for this? Virtualization is a great thing to do that. And let me give just to tell you, if you can deploy these applications, what takes months or weeks in very few minutes, or probably few hours, or in a day or 2 days, if you can deploy that, that's what you want. The example here is, I mean, you want to deploy a unified communication or a VDI solution or a contact center solution. If you can get everything in one solution, and if you can monitor this solution by one management system, and you can do the complete management monitoring from one system, that's what organizations are looking at today. Okay, so virtualization is something which has really helped organization to deploy applications faster, and this goes beyond an enterprise. If you want to deploy in your own organization, you do virtualization. So what if you want to go beyond your organization? Cloud is not something very, very new to anybody. Cloud is something which our consumers use it because, and they know that iCloud, right? They may not know what cloud is all about, but they know iCloud. Okay, I mean, you can ask any kid today, he knows about iCloud, and he knows how to sync his iPod with an phone, with an iPad. He can do everything. He can get updates from his iPod to an iPhone to an iPad. He can do everything without your intervention. He doesn't want anybody's help. And he has not been trained on iCloud, or he has not been tried on virtualization, he has not been tried on any of the technologies what we really talk about, but he knows that. So cloud is not something which is new to both users and to IT. But IT obviously has to tread carefully before deploying. The reason for that is the complexity involved in an enterprise is much, much more than that in a consumer world. Okay. So I'm just giving you an example of how can that cloud be deployed. Actually, see, there are 4 things what you can do actually in a cloud. One is use it. What is use it? See, I have an office in the US, but I have just 20 users. Should I deploy a solution in my US office to give that solution? The answer is no. Why should I? So the users want unified communication. Why can't I use it in a private cloud, in a public cloud in the US, and start using it? So I just go to the website, subscribe to a solution, and then I say that, okay, I need only voice connection, so I need 20 people voice connection, so what is the money I have to pay? So I don't have to deploy a solution, so I just use it. The next is organization want to build it. So they say that, okay, I'm a big enterprise. One of the challenges I have is the technology is moving so fast, I'm not able to keep pace with that. But however, my users are asking me, give me this, give me this, give me this. So the other way of looking at it is the enterprise says, hey, you are an SI, why I will outsource everything to you, take it. I will outsource everything to you. So they basically say that I will outsource the whole communication infrastructure to you, or the whole IT to you. You help, help me. And it is an OpEx model, and typically enterprises say that the TCO is between the TCO which gets lowered is between 15 to 20% actually over a period of 5 years maybe. So it is basically the enterprises are telling the other SIs to build an infrastructure and to keep upgrading and updating the technologies based on what is happening in the in the technology world. Okay. And the next is deliver it. I mean, you don't have to have all the services within the organization. So for example, video as a service, you want to try it out before you deploy in your organization. So why don't you go to a service provider and say that, hey, okay, why don't you deliver these services to me? I will use it. So based on how it works for me, I will fine tune what I need from you. So you don't have to invest anything. It is an OpEx model, service provider gives you and you use it as an enterprise. And the last one is enhance it. Enhance it is something to do with what the consumer world cloud is all about. So what you do, you just go to the cloud, find an application, download, find a game, download. And in an enterprise, why don't you do the same thing? You want an application, go to a marketplace and download those applications. So there can be amazing applications what are there, but those people who develop these applications can't reach out to the whole world. So the only way is they can put it somewhere. If you are interested, you go check it out and then download those applications, start using it for a month. If you are happy, you go to them and tell them, yes, I want to buy this application. Okay, so that's what happens in an enterprise to deploy these applications much faster. Okay. So if you see video as a service, so do you have to deploy the expensive video solution in your organization? Probably not. Say suppose you just want to roll out these applications for one group or a one project team which is dispersed across the world. What you do is go to a service provider and tell, can you give me this service? I have 10 users and my usage will be probably 1 hour a day. I need you to give this service for me for the next 1 month. And see how it works for you. Based on that, you can take a call after 1 month actually. So video as a service is a very good thing to start with if you want to start something like a cloud service actually. Okay, so the next topic what I'll be talking is about customer experience management. Okay, so we all call the organizations. Today we do call the banks. I mean, it's really frustrating many times. You don't get an answer. You call after half an hour. You tell the same thing. Repeating history is very common in our contact centers today. And then after the next day you call and you tell the same thing again, right? We do that, right? That is how customer service used to be. And in parts it is still continues to be like that actually. So the next came wherein the businesses focused on efficiencies. They say that, hey, I have 100 contact center agents and my number of calls are 200 per every second. Consecutive calls is 200. Is there a way that I can use get the user to do self-service? Right? We have these IVRs, right? And sometimes it is annoying. It affects our daily life and we want to call them. We know that it gets work done fine. So sometimes I don't want to call the bank because after that conversation or not having conversation, it always irritates you. And I avoid calling banks. Okay, so it's just, I don't know how many of you are from banks, so I'll not tell which bank I am banking with. Okay, but however, sometimes it does work. Okay, it is not that always it doesn't work. Okay, but however, I would really love to send an email and get a response the next day. That's okay with me. Because there is nothing like urgent for me. Because as far as you lose your card, it is urgent and then that works effectively in a bank. If you lose a card, you call them, it works very well. But when I can wait for a day, I don't have to talk to a person. I am comfortable with an email and I'm also comfortable with chat. Okay, that's by nature. It's nothing to do with me or you. Sometimes people are very comfortable in talking. Some people are very comfortable in video. And today's young generation are comfortable in Facebook and Twitter and probably means of getting to the world. They're very, very comfortable with that. So now what has happened today is customers connect with businesses actually. Okay, so and that if you see the trend, what has happened is it is customers talking to business has moved from business focus on efficiencies by moving a self-service or an IVR kind of a thing, and customers are connecting with the businesses. And customers today want instantaneous replies or instantaneous solution to their problems actually. So that is a fact. So, the common thing when you ask, when do you want it? I wanted it yesterday, right? And we have all heard that actually. So that is how it has changed. And if you see what is required in a customer service management or a customer experience management, it is multi-channel devices, it is pervasive video, and social media. So that is what organizations are moving, enterprises are telling, this is what is important for me. And I will talk to you on two things, which is pervasive video and social media today. But multi-channels are something which we find customers or the enterprises are telling that has becoming very, very important for us. So the reason for that is very simple. I mean, if you ask 100 people what is the mode of communication they would like to have, this is the answers you get. Actually, voice used to be 100% earlier, but voice is no more 100% today. And what we also see is the voice self-service, video self-service also, email, web, SMS, chat, video. If you see, these are the things which are slowly increasing. And the organizations have to ensure that they cater to such kind of users also, just such kind of consumers also. And probably what we see as an IT team, you must be having an IT help desk. And then this is something what you can roll it out as a pilot project in your own organization and take it and tell the businesses that, yes, I can do something like this. So pervasive video is what? Okay, so typically what we told is you do a video call and you need to have an application inside on your iPad or your PC or something like that. But there is one great thing in our laptops today. If you open an Internet Explorer, there is something called as a Flash, which is default there. You don't have to install it default. So you go to a web page, and if you go to a web page, and then you can do a click to call, and you can also do a click to video, and you don't really require any application to be installed on your PC. Okay, Flash takes care of that. And that is something what users want, because if you tell them how many times you have gone to a website and then want to reach out to somebody and they say that download this application, you will say cancel and you will not do that at all, right? It is a very common thing because you don't want to waste time in doing and loading an application onto it. So if you go to a website, customer clicks on the video link, chat link, and he can get into a call and he can chat with the user. He can share an application, or the customer agent can share an application. And all this, you can do it on an iPad or an iPhone or an Android device or also on a laptop, and you don't require anything to be installed on your device, end devices. Okay, so it uses what is available. So this is one way of getting, so this is what is called pervasive video for customer services actually. So you have to have, why it is important actually. Let us look at a good example. I mean, this is an example which I went through actually. So I was traveling abroad. One thing which I forgot, which generally I forget always, all the time, is getting an insurance for the family, right? So the previous night, I had logged into one site to get the insurance done, and then it was not going through, and tried to call their contact center. I couldn't reach, or it got dropped or something like that. And then I dropped that particular company's web page and then went to another insurance website and then did that. And while doing that, I just entered the number, and somebody called me and told, sir, any problems? So this is how you have to do. So the reason why it becomes easy is when I was on the particular page, and if I had an option to click to call, or if I had an option of click to video, I would have used that time actually. Okay, so there is I see that there is a business case for many of the organizations to do that, because, and once I do a video call, and then I can share an application and tell that what is happening. I mean, it is not going through. What should I do? So I probably will get an instant help. That's what today people want actually. Yeah, that was my mistake. So, but in spite of that, but many things happen at the last minute, and then users want immediate solutions to that actually, right? And so this works very well for many of our customers actually. So one of the things what many of our customers do is to have a virtual expert. Say suppose you have a 3,000 store, if you are a big organization and you are into a consumer business and you have 3,000 stores across the country. Can you keep an expert in every place? Not possible. It is, from a business point of view, it is not feasible at all to have an expert. But when a user walks into a, let us take an example of a bank branch. When the user walks into a bank branch, there is only one employee there in that particular bank branch because it's a small branch. You have a system and you can get that user to connect to an expert which is in a central location or a regional location. That's what it is. And same applies to a telemedicine also actually. So wherein you can have an interaction and you can have a face-to-face interaction without having to spend too much. Okay. So this is something which customers are asking us today, and some of the customers are doing pilot for themselves today actually. So mostly the IT teams are doing the pilots for themselves. The next is customer satisfaction and customer loyalty really is what the brand is all about. The more customers, more satisfied customers you have, the more loyal customers you have, your brand is the best actually. So there are many, many examples for that actually. So if you see some of the brands, if you think of, and then you say that, I mean, they are such big brands because their support is very good, their service is very good, or the products are very good. So that's the reason why you do that. But again, today's world, protecting that brand is become really a challenge because customers can type in and propagate to the whole world about their experience, good experience and then bad experience immediately to the whole world, right? Today is something what happens actually. So how do they do it? They do it with this, right? And I think, I mean, it really, you see what is happening around us because, and then many times it happens, they say that, oh, it is because of the social networking, somebody uploaded a video, it caused chaos in the whole world. Somebody made a comment, it started chaos. I mean, it becomes breaking news today actually. So it is important for an organization to monitor. But to monitoring these social media is not very easy because 90% of the things are not useful at all. So if you see, there is a lot of activity, what is happening in the social media world, and only 10% of the issues are actionable. Only 10%. So how much you can monitor and do that? So you need to have a monitoring which is an automated monitoring system so that you can say that, okay, let me take all the tweets, all the information, all the things, put it inside a filter and get out what is relevant for them, and then once that relevant thing comes, I will put it across to the department of concern actually. So let me give you an example. Mortgage or a bank loan for house is a keyword. I monitor bank loan or loan for the house as a keyword, and then that is very important for a bank. So whom it is important for? It is important for the sales. So I send it to them. So then I get a thing saying that, okay, not happy flying today using this airline. So what is it important for that? It's important for an airline where it has to go to the customer service. And there could be some of the keywords which are important to HR, which will go to the HR. So you can actually filter it using a social media engine or a social media manager, filter all those things and send and act on what is relevant only. Let me give you an example of how it can be done and how people are doing it today. Okay, so this is an example of one guy buys a guitar and then he says that he is not at all happy with it. He's not at all happy with it. So think of this, somebody is monitoring, he gets a response immediately saying that, please click to have a call. We are very sorry for what has happened to you. I mean, you feel really good. You go complain to somebody saying that it is not working the way it should be working, or I am not happy with the product, and somebody calls you up, you feel very nice. Whether it will solve the problem or not is a secondary issue, but somebody responded to your problem. You feel nice about it actually. So somebody responds, and then he can click to call, and when he does a click to call, you can integrate with the video, what I showed you earlier, click to video, which is a pervasive video, and then you can talk to the customer to ask him what happened, and you can take a you can solve that customer's issue. right? So that's why it becomes very important to have an excellent customer experience management actually, and that's very, very important to have that customer experience management. So if you see, you need to cater to consumer preferred channels or the customer preferred channels. Innovative solutions is a differentiator for organization. So, and then increasing the customer satisfaction is actually increasing the revenues for an organization. So these are some of the things which you need to be really focused in rolling out anything to do with the consumers. And for you, for IT team, your users of the enterprise users also are your consumers, right? So you should focus both for internally and the external consumers or the customers to ensure that they get the right customer experiences immaterial of what channel they come into the organization with. Okay, so this probably the next one is my last slide. So I just want to summarize that. I mean, I spoke about challenges and I spoke about solutions to those challenges. I mean, I'm told, I mean, many times it so happens that we go with a problem, your manager can always ask what is the solution for that. If you don't have a solution, why did you come out with a problem to me? So you need to find a solution to that. And when you face the problem and when you are suffering from an issue or a problem, and you will be the first guy who can come out with a solution much faster than anybody else. So, and actually for the, you are the next CEOs, the CIOs, and then you know that you need to step up and come out with a solution to solve those business issues actually. So we spoke about the 4 solutions, which is the mobility and or the mobile collaboration solutions, the video collaboration, the customer experience management, and the virtual enterprises. And not everything will be relevant for everybody. You need to see whether some of them are relevant for you or all of them are relevant for you, and you to have a very good planning to deploy these solutions, and the solutions are available today. Okay. With that, I'll conclude my presentation. Hope it was interesting to you and useful to you. And then probably I will take few questions if I have 3-4 minutes. Yeah.
We have about 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
A couple
Perfect.
of questions.
I mean, if you have any questions, please. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question on this video collaboration.
Yeah.
Mic.
When you were giving the
Have the mic.
Yeah.
do we have any feature by which I can record the
Oh, okay. So the same application has it actually. You just have to click it. The same application, when you open that application, it has an option to record that. You can record that application, and as a moderator, only the moderator will be able to record that presentation. Yes, that is possible.
And my voice file and my video file will be separate, or?
It probably is not separate, your voice and video. It is integrated actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what you suggest that Scopia will work good on internet or IPLC?
Okay, so this, what we did today is all on internet.
All internet.
All on internet. We have a connection directly taken from the hotel today, and it is connected to a centralized system which is in it's in Hong Kong, right? Hong Kong. It is in Hong Kong, and the people who have joined from Bombay and Delhi, they were in our office, but they are also connecting to the outside world. So again, I mean, you can take a call whether you want that to be outside your enterprise or in your DMZ zone or even internal zone. Okay, from a security point of view, you can take a call. Yeah.
One more question.
You mentioned,
Yeah.
you mentioned about the IT department or the IT division of any organization taking a longer time to roll out stuff compared to a subdivision of the same organization. And one of the key reasons you said, and you pointed out an example of, if it's a consumer product, it rolls out much faster. When it's an enterprise solution, it's a lot slower. This is what I've seen. What happens is when it's an IT department, it needs to be an overarching solution.
Yep.
And most of the organizations are bound by regulations like HIPAA or Sarbanes-Oxley or PCI DSS, which says that, hey, you want to have this data, it has to be in an encrypted form, it has to be stored on an encrypted. So by the time you solve all this problem, 3 years are gone.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the poor IT guy gets banged saying that, why is that you take so long to deploy when I can go to iTunes and download something. What is stored in iCloud? Your personal photo. Is it company-related confidential financials, company database? No. So I think we need to kind of identify that on the consumer market, the reliability is much less compared to a corporate environment where it's like power. When you plug in, you expect the power to be there. When you pick up the phone, you expect the phone to be there. So that, I think we need to keep that in mind when we go ahead and say, IT department, you suck because you take 3 years to roll out something which someone else can do it.
Yeah. So, no, the point is very valid. I mean, see, what a consumer need not worry, IT need to worry about too many things. Okay, but the thing is, we also have to remember, those are the consumers who are coming to work. And it is a very common thing. Many times, I have told myself, it works so well in my house, why doesn't work in my office? It happens to me always. I mean, you hear that all the time actually. You hear that from users all the time. So the reason why, I mean, see, there are multiple things why it was not happening earlier and how the acceleration of applications have happened today. Okay, so earlier you are looking at only the application. You are never looking at the infrastructure required for the application to tie it up with that. So today, an application vendor also, he knows what is the infrastructure, what is there, and he can also, I mean, if you are using VMware, it can be something which can get integrated. That infrastructure and application can get integrated much faster than what it used to be earlier actually. So still it will take months, if not years, for an enterprise to roll out application, but it is much faster than what they used to take probably 5 years back and now. Okay, and then again, the applications today are not deployed company-wide. You don't have to look at applications to be deployed company-wide. You take a group of people and you accelerate only that particular process. Somebody has a process which is very slow, and then you can accelerate only that part of it. That can be much faster. If you have to roll out something company-wide, it takes time. Yeah, any good example is, for a home PC, you may have the latest of the Windows OS, but in an office, you can't roll it out very fast because you need to do a lot of testing before you roll it out. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, Arun. Yeah. Thanks for the interesting. We'll take it offline. We are a little running behind.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Arun.